Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar about understanding interoception by Little Heroes Academy. So today what we will be covering in our session is what is interoception, what's the link between interoception and neurodiversity, what role interoception plays in our body states, the role it plays in our emotional regulation, what some signs of challenges with interoception might be, and some ways to support the development of interoceptive awareness. First, we're going to start by understanding what interoception is. So interoception is actually a part of our sensory system. So it is our eighth sense. Typically, a lot of people miss this one. So first, we've got sight, smell, sound, touch, taste. We also have our movement senses, so proprioception and vestibular. And then our eighth one is interoception. So that's our eighth sense of our sensory system. So basically what it is, it's our body's awareness of the different feelings that are going on. So this will help us to engage in our everyday activities like using the toilet, when we're eating, when we're drinking, sleeping, recognizing what emotions we're feeling in the moment and how to manage them. So basically our body recognizes our body state and links that to our everyday activities. So that's what interoception is. Now let's take a look at interoception and neurodiversity. So for some neurodivergent people, they may struggle to notice their body signals, which indicate their emotional, physical state. So they might be going about their day and not be recognizing that their body is signaling that they might need to engage in. They might be hungry, or they might be starting to feel a certain emotion. So they're struggling to notice their body signals. And for some neurodivergent people, they might not understand what that means. So they might have the body signals, they recognize that something's different, but they're not sure what that needs and how to meet what their body's telling them. And for some other neurodivergent people, they might express their experiences and what's going on with their body, but often from experiences where they've been misunderstood or mislabeled about what their experience is, this can lead to them feeling confused about their inner experience, and then they might not be able to trust what their body's telling them. So it leads to a lot of confusion and a lot of uncertainty about what their body's telling them from previous experiences. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at interoception and our body states. So starting with toileting, we use our interoceptive awareness, recognizing our body signals, to detect if our bladder feels full or our bowel feels full or if there's cramping in our abdominal area. However, it's not limited to these body signals because everyone experiences their body states differently and has different signals. So we use our interoceptive awareness to recognize, do I need to go to the toilet? Do I need to empty my bladder, or do I need to empty my bowel? Do I need to go right now, or is this something I can wait for? So these signals help us to manage our body state. So manage whether we need to go to the toilet now or go to the toilet later. Now, if we look at hunger, very similar. So our interoceptive awareness helps us to recognize and understand those body signals and what they might mean. So for some people, they might be having some rumbling in their stomach. They might feel like their stomach is empty. Some people might find it difficult to focus or have really low energy. And there might be more signals. These are just some examples because everyone's body states are going to be different and their signals will mean different things about what their body needs. So we use these signals to help us manage our body state. So it helps us to inform us whether we know we feel slightly hungry or we need to eat right now. So it kind of helps us know the severity of what's going on with our body to be able to manage that. And if we have a look at thirst, very similar again. Our interoceptive awareness helps us to detect the signals in our body. For some people, it might be that dryness of the mouth or that stickiness in the mouth. Some people might get a headache. Again, some people might find it difficult to focus. There's lots of different body signals and that occur for people. Now, this helps us to know whether we might need to stop an activity. Say, for example, if you are playing sport, you recognize these signals. It might inform you that you need to stop right now and get a drink of water, or you use your interoceptive awareness of those signals to go, no, I can wait and have a drink after you're playing sport. So we're using our body signals informed by our interoceptive awareness of what we need to do in that moment. If we have a look at pain, we might detect a burning, aching, tingling sensation, throbbing, tension, stiffness. Again, just examples. And it can also, our interoceptive awareness can also help us to detect where we feel it. So are we feeling it in our hands? Are we feeling that aching in our feet? So it can help narrow down to work out what's going on with our body. So we recognize these body signals, then it can help us to understand what we might need to do to help our bodies. Now, we might think, is this a pain that is really severe and it needs to be managed, or is this something that you might need to monitor? So we're using our body signals to help us manage our body states. And lastly, we've got fatigue. So you might detect that you have really heavy eyelids, slower movements. You might feel really heavy, sluggish, or you might have yawning. So these are lots of different signals, and not limited to these ones. There can be lots of different body sensations and signals that occur for people when they're feeling fatigued or tired. And we use these signals that we've recognized with our interoceptive awareness to influence what we're going to do to manage that. Is it recognizing that you're feeling really tired, or are you feeling really exhausted? And then what to do with that information is how we will then manage our body states. Now we're going to move on to interoception and our emotional state. So everyone has a different inner experience. And that then means that everyone's going to experience their emotions differently. So how one person experiences anger might be different to how another person experiences anger. How someone responds to frustration might be different to how someone else responds to frustration. What someone's body feels like when they're feeling really happy or really joyful might be completely different to someone else internally. Now, people have unique body signals which are linked to their emotions because their inner experience is different. So recognizing these signals is key to understand, interpret, and respond effectively to these emotional states. So some examples of what our body signals might be when we're feeling different emotional states are listed below. And there's a long list. This is not all the body signals. This is just a list, but it can be different for everyone else. And the words people use to describe their body signals may also be different. So, for example, someone might feel like they can't sit still, but they might describe it as energetic. And it's really important that we validate how people describe their inner experience using their language, as well as what they're actually feeling is valid. So basically, to be able to engage in any form of regulation, it's really important to understand what our body signals are telling us so that it can inform what we might be feeling and what we can do to help ourselves. So for example, if I'm feeling really, really frustrated, my heart beats really fast when I'm frustrated and I can't think, I feel distracted. And so I've recognized that these are my body signals when I'm feeling frustrated. And typically what I'll do to engage in a regulation activity to support my emotional state, I'll engage in some deep breathing, which helps to calm my body and slow my breathing down to then be able to engage in other activities. So that's just an example of how our emotional state is influenced by recognizing our body signals and then regulating. Okay, now we're going to have a look at some challenges that may occur with interoception. So some people might have a reduced awareness of body signals, or other people might have a heightened experience of body signals. Now, it's important to always recognize that everyone's experience is valid. However, some people might just have a bit more challenge around identifying, and with their experience, it might be a bit more confusing. So when we're looking at a reduced awareness of body signals, it might look like someone's not experiencing their body signals related to toileting, thirst, hunger until it's urgent. So for example, if a child's gone to school and they haven't recognized that they're thirsty or hungry throughout the day, and they haven't eaten their lunch or they haven't drank any water, when they come home, they might be feeling like so thirsty or so hungry that they need to eat and drink right then and there, or they feel like they're going to be sick. So that might be an example of someone not recognizing or experiencing those body signals related to when they're feeling a bit hungry or feeling a bit thirsty until it feels like it's really urgent. People might also be unaware of pain or temperature signals and may not feel when they are injured or hurt. So for example, we might be able to physically see someone's injured or hurt themselves, but the person is not experiencing those body sensations. That might be the aching, it might be the tingling. Any of those signals that are commonly related to feeling injured or hurt. And the last one we have is difficulty linking a person's body signals and those sensations that are occurring to their emotions and body states. So for example, someone might be confused about what sensation it is to feel like to go to the toilet. They might not be able to link that to going to the toilet and might be getting confused with feeling thirsty or feeling tired. And that's the same with our emotions as well. Getting confused and not being able to link the body signals to that emotion. Now, if we have a look at the other side of the challenges, being the heightened experience of body signals, these include things like people have a more intense feeling, or they might feel the sensations more frequently when it comes to going to the toilet, feeling thirsty or feeling hungry or even feeling tired. These sensations might be heightened. Another trait we might see for people that have a heightened experience of their body signals is they might feel like they're hurt or injured more frequently, or have a bigger reaction to when something might hurt or when a temperature might change, as their experience is felt more intensely and more frequently. And this can also be the same with emotions. Our emotions might be felt at a greater intensity if someone was to have a heightened experience, because their body sensations and the changes in their body states are more intense and they occur more frequently. It just creates a bigger intensity of these emotions. So that is some challenges with interoception that we might see in people. Okay, now we're going to just talk about some strategies that we might be able to use to support people to develop their interoceptive awareness. So first of all, when it comes to linking our body signals and recognizing our body signals, it's really important to start with the external body signals first. These are easier for people to start to notice, as you've also got your sight to help you recognize what you might be feeling. And it also can be helpful if you're trying to help someone to develop their awareness. You might be able to say, oh, it looks like there's water on your hand. Does your hand feel wet or does it feel dry? So having your sense of sight can be a lot easier to help with recognizing what your body might be feeling. And then once you've kind of got a good understanding of what your external body signals are, we can start to transition towards the internal, which is a lot trickier because we can't see and it's a lot more confusing internally. So for example, it might be recognizing what your heartbeat is doing. Is it beating really fast or is it beating really slow? We might do this after we do some star jumps and checking in with what our internal body signals are doing. Next, we might start to do some body mapping activities. So I quite like to use a basic outline of a body, but sometimes if a child has an interest in a certain game such as Roblox or Minecraft, I'll use a Minecraft body or whatever their interest is, trying to incorporate their interest. We can use that outline as another guide, as another prompt to recognize where we're feeling certain sensations and being able to draw it and map it out on our body. So for example, you might be crawling through a tunnel and you might prompt someone to say, where did you feel that tunnel when you were crawling through it. And you might start by recognizing the external body signals first, like, oh, I felt it on my knees and my hands as I was crawling. So then you might get them to draw and color whatever it felt like or whatever it looks like for them on the body parts of that visual. And you can start to make it more complex, such as linking that to the internal body signals, but it's always good to start with the external first. We might be doing some body scans as well through mindfulness activities such as yoga. There's lots of great yoga for kids and for adults on YouTube, lots of apps and lots of yoga games. You might be doing belly breathing with soft toy on a tummy. So for example, getting someone to lie down and focusing on the diaphragmatic breathing. So when the toy is on the belly, when you breathe in, you watch the toy go up and then you watch it fall when you breathe out. So really trying to build that connection with recognizing what the signals in your body are doing and scanning what's going on through your body whilst doing a mindfulness activity. It can also be really helpful if you're supporting someone with this activity to ask them some questions. Say, hey, what does it feel like when your tummy rises and falls? What does it feel like when you hold that yoga position? Does it feel really tight in your muscles or does it feel loose? What body parts can you feel moving while doing that activity? So it can be really helpful to ask some questions as well while doing these activities. We might use a visual chart to support children's awareness of different body signals. So for example, it might just be a body outline and having different body parts and using, hey, my eyes, I can feel my eyes moving during this activity. It might be my arms are moving. So you can do a body visual chart. It might be having different organs on the visual chart to support kids to recognize, or adults, as well, what body parts they can feel working. For example, can you feel your heart working? Can you feel your bladder getting full throughout the day? And you might even have some different signals, visuals, on the chart, such as feeling fast. You might have your brain with like a turtle feeling slow. So there's lots of different ways you could use a visual to support with children's awareness of their body signals. Can also be really helpful just to do regular check-ins throughout the day about body signals. This can be done in group activities or one-on-one. It's a really good way just to build that skill of checking in with what your body is doing. We might be doing some body sensation exploration activities. So kind of what I said before, noticing your heartbeat after exercise. You might be doing like a scavenger hunt around a playground, saying, can you find a really hot surface, or can you feel something that feels really cold? Can you feel something that feels soft? And then just linking those sensations to exploring the environment and exploring what's around them. It might also be that we start to teach children about what our body does and the purpose of our organs. So for example, there's lots of great books about how our body works and what it is our organs do to keep us alive and keep us running. And it could be a really helpful way to teach kids about what's going on so they can start to make sense of those signals and what it means for them in the world. And lastly, it's just really important to note that we must validate everyone's inner experience to avoid mislabeling their internal world, so we can avoid leading to their confusion and feeling like they've been misunderstood because someone's labeling their inner experience to be different to what they're feeling. So that is all for today's webinar about interoception. Thank you so much for joining.